Following the stalled Iran nuclear talks, the IAEA censured Iran for its failure to explain traces of uranium found at undeclared sites, and Iran turning off 27 surveillance cameras from nuclear sites across the country. Satellite images have now shown Iran reportedly making preparations for a space rocket launch. Israel's Prime Minister Naftali Bennett has said that, and I quote, Iran's belligerent actions should be a wake-up call for the international community. Our correspondent Jody Cohen gets us all the details.
On Tuesday, Iran appeared to be making preparations to launch a rocket into space at Imam Khomeini spaceport. That's the site of a series of previous failed attempts to put a satellite into orbit. While Iran has not commented on a forthcoming launch, in May, its state-run IRNA news agency suggested that the country could have several satellites ready for launch by March 2023, and a Defense Ministry official reportedly recently said that Iran could soon test its new satellite-carrying rocket.
We've talked about the challenge that Iran poses. Not only are we working with Israel, we are working closely with our Gulf partners, including the Saudis and the broader GCC, by the way, the GCC +3, which will be in Saudi Arabia when President Biden visits there. There are also other interests, including energy, and we've spoken of our desire to see a steady global supply of energy. This has been a topic of discussion on a bilateral basis with members of OPEC. It will be on the agenda when President Biden meets with the GCC and meets with Saudi counterparts in Saudi Arabia next month as well.
The US says that Iran's satellite launches break a UN Security Council resolution. The concern is that this activity uses similar technology to an intercontinental ballistic missile. With President Biden's forthcoming trip to West Asia in July, Iran will certainly be on the agenda. In Israel, he's expected to visit a US-funded missile defense system and discuss new laser technologies to defeat airborne threats. He'll also focus on regional cooperation with the virtual I2U2 summit, including Israel, India, the US and UAE, as well as the annual Gulf Cooperation Council +3 summit in Saudi Arabia, where a joint infrastructure to defend against Iran between the Arab countries and Israel is likely to be discussed. Meanwhile, EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen had a meeting with Prime Minister Bennett in Israel. The two leaders discussed Iran and Israel agreeing to cooperate on exporting natural gas to Europe via Egypt. Bennett welcomed the EU's recent decision to censure Iran at the IAEA and stressed the need for the international community to take further action to prevent Iran from achieving nuclear weapons. Israel and at times the US are thought to be behind covert measures that have held back Iran's nuclear ambitions in the past, and both have left open the possibility of a preemptive strike to stop Iran. However, in Bennett's meeting with von der Leyen, he called for Iran's actions to be met with clear and strong consequences, increased pressure and holding Iran accountable at the UN Security Council. This is Jody Cohen for WION World is One.
WION, now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.